You've been doing everything right. You cut the calories. You pushed through the workouts. You stepped on the scale every morning with a little bit of hope. And every single time, that number barely moved. Or worse, it went back up. And somewhere along the way, you started wondering if something was just broken inside you, like your body was working against you on purpose. Here's the thing. It actually was. Not because you're weak or undisciplined, not because you picked the wrong diet or skipped too many gym sessions, but because there is a hidden biological mechanism operating deep inside your body right now, quietly canceling out every single effort you make. And until you understand how it works, nothing you try is ever going to stick. This mechanism has a name. Metabolism expert Dr. Jason Fung calls it the body fat thermostat. And once you understand what it is and how it operates, the reason you've been struggling will finally make complete sense. Think about the thermostat on your wall at home. You set it to 72 degrees. The room gets too cold, it kicks the heat on. The room gets too warm, it shuts the heat off. No matter what you do, it always tries to bring the temperature back to that one number it's been set to. Your body does the exact same thing with fat. There is a preset level of body fat your system has decided is its target, and it will fight with everything it has to keep you at that number. Every hormone, every metabolic process, every hunger signal is coordinated around defending that set point. So when you go on a strict diet and start eating 500 fewer calories a day, your body doesn't just sit back and let you burn through your fat reserves. It notices the deficit almost immediately. It registers the drop in stored fat, and then it starts its counterattack. First, it makes you hungrier. Not just a little hungry, aggressively, obsessively hungry. The hunger, that is not a character flaw. That is your thermostat trying to get you to eat back those 500 calories you cut. And if the hunger alone doesn't work, your body moves to its second weapon. It simply slows your metabolism down. It reduces how many calories your organs burn. It lowers your body temperature slightly. It makes you feel more tired so you move less. It squeezes every possible calorie it can out of whatever you eat. So now you're eating 500 fewer calories per day, and your body is burning 500 fewer calories per day, and you are sitting at exactly 0 net loss. The scale doesn't move, you feel miserable, and you have no idea why. That is the body fat thermostat at work.
This is an important discussion because this wasn't theory. This was proven in clinical research more than 40 years ago. Scientists compared 3 groups of people. The first was a control group of normal, non-obese individuals. The second was a group of people who were currently obese. The third was the most revealing group, people who had been obese but had successfully lost a significant amount of weight. What they measured was how many calories each group was burning on a daily basis. The results were startling. The control group and the currently obese group burned roughly similar amounts of energy, around 1,400 calories per square meter, which translates to about 2,000 calories for an average-sized person. But the people who had lost weight from obesity, the group that had actually done the hard work and succeeded, they were burning dramatically fewer calories than everyone else.
When the researchers broke it down by calories burned per kilogram of body weight per day, the normal group was burning around 36 calories. The formerly obese group, who had lost weight, was burning barely half of that. Their bodies had essentially gone into conservation mode, clinging on to every single calorie, doing everything possible to rebuild the fat that had been lost. This is why people who have lost a significant amount of weight often feel like they have to eat almost nothing just to maintain it. Their thermostat is still set to the heavier weight. Their metabolism has been suppressed to force them back to that baseline. And the heartbreaking truth is that no amount of willpower or discipline can override a thermostat that hasn't been reset. So the real question isn't how do I eat less or exercise more? The real question is, how do I actually change the setting on this thermostat? And the answer, according to Dr. Fung, lies entirely in your hormones. The body fat thermostat is not controlled by calories. It is controlled by a complex network of hormonal signals. Some hormones, like insulin, cortisol in excess, and ghrelin, push the thermostat higher, telling your body to store more fat, hold on to its reserves, and prepare for what it perceives as a threat. Other hormones, specifically a class known as incretin hormones, including GLP-1, GIP, and glucagon, do the exact opposite. They signal to your body that it is safe to release stored fat, that it has enough fuel, that it can lower the thermostat setting and start burning what it's been holding on to. We know this because these hormones can be administered as drugs, and the effects are consistent and measurable. Give someone a drug that raises insulin, they gain weight. Give someone a drug that activates GLP-1. They lose weight on a sustained basis. The thermostat shifts. The body stops defending the higher set point. Fat loss becomes not just possible, but automatic. The entire billion-dollar weight loss drug industry, including medications like Ozempic and Wegovy, is built entirely around this one principle: manipulating the incretin system to lower the body fat thermostat. But here is what almost nobody is talking about. You do not need a prescription to activate these same hormonal pathways. You can begin shifting your thermostat starting tomorrow morning with one of the simplest changes imaginable. When you wake up in the morning, your body is already in the middle of a very deliberate hormonal sequence. Your adrenal glands release cortisol, your primary morning stress hormone. This cortisol spike serves a purpose. It signals your liver to release stored glucose, raising your blood sugar, so that your brain and muscles have immediate fuel the moment you open your eyes. This is why you feel a surge of alertness in those first minutes after waking. Your body has already given itself energy before you've taken a single bite. But here's where breakfast becomes a problem. Within the first 3 to 4 hours of waking, while cortisol is still elevated and your blood sugar has already been pushed up, if you sit down and eat a meal, you are adding more glucose on top of what is already circulating. Your pancreas responds by spiking insulin levels even higher than they would normally go. And when insulin rises sharply, your body fat thermostat switches decisively into fat storage mode. On top of that, ghrelin, the hunger hormone, activates. And once ghrelin is circulating, your appetite intensifies, cravings appear, and your body starts pushing you toward calorie-dense foods. You eat breakfast, you spike insulin, you trigger ghrelin, and before your day has even properly started, your thermostat is already working against your fat loss goals. Now, consider what happens when you do the opposite. When you wake up and you simply don't eat for the first 3 to 4 hours, you allow that cortisol-driven glucose to be used up naturally. Your insulin levels stay low. And when insulin is low, your body has no choice but to continue pulling energy from stored fat. The fasting window extends, the incretin hormones begin to rise, ghrelin actually decreases over time, and something remarkable happens. Your hunger fades. Clinical research confirms this in ways that directly contradict what most mainstream nutrition advice has been telling you for decades. Multiple studies have examined what actually happens when people skip breakfast compared to those who eat it every morning. The results are consistent. People who regularly skip breakfast show measurably better insulin sensitivity and significantly improved fat metabolism. More importantly, they eat less overall across the full day. On average, people who skip breakfast consume approximately 260 fewer calories per day, not because they're restricting themselves, not because they're fighting hunger, but because the hormonal environment created by the extended fast naturally reduces appetite and keeps them fuller longer. And that caloric reduction, achieved without any conscious effort or suffering, translates directly into weight loss. Studies show that skipping breakfast is associated with approximately 0.44 kilograms, nearly a full pound, of additional fat loss compared to eating breakfast. The hunger compensation that everyone warned you about, the idea that skipping breakfast will just make you overeat at lunch or binge on snacks in the afternoon, simply does not happen for most people. When the hormones are balanced correctly, the body self-regulates. You are not hungrier. You are actually less hungry, and you lose weight almost effortlessly as a result. But delaying breakfast is just the first step. Once you've created that hormonal foundation in the morning, you can amplify the effect significantly through what you eat in your actual meals. And one of the most powerful and overlooked tools available to you is something you've probably had sitting in your kitchen cabinet for years without realizing what it was actually capable of: turmeric. Specifically, the active compound inside turmeric called curcumin. Research into curcumin has revealed that it has a direct and measurable effect on GLP-1, the same incretin hormone that Ozempic and Wegovy are designed to target. When you consume curcumin, whether through turmeric-spiced food or a concentrated supplement, GLP-1 levels rise. And when GLP-1 rises, your appetite decreases, your blood sugar stabilizes, your gastric emptying slows down, so food moves through your system more gradually, and most critically, your body fat thermostat begins to shift downward. Traditional medicine in South Asia and Southeast Asia has used turmeric for the management of blood sugar and metabolic conditions for centuries. Modern science is now confirming exactly why it works. It operates on the same hormonal mechanism that the most expensive weight loss drugs in the world have been engineered to replicate. You can add it to curries, stir it into warm drinks, blend it into sauces, or take it as a supplement. The form matters less than the consistency. Make it a regular part of your diet, and you are giving your incretin system a daily boost that gradually but persistently nudges that thermostat in the right direction. Fiber works through a similar but distinct pathway, and its effect on the body fat thermostat is just as significant. When you eat dietary fiber, particularly soluble fiber from vegetables, legumes, oats, and whole foods, it does something that refined carbohydrates, like white bread or white rice, simply cannot do. It slows everything down. Fiber is physically bulky and difficult to move through the digestive tract. It resists rapid digestion. It triggers the stretch receptors in your stomach earlier and more powerfully, sending satiety signals to your brain before you've overeaten. In contrast, refined flour dissolves almost instantly in your small intestine, floods your bloodstream with glucose in minutes, spikes insulin sharply, and leaves you hungry again within an hour or two because the stretch receptors barely registered the meal at all. But fiber doesn't stop working in the stomach. When it reaches the colon, something even more important happens. The gut microbiome, the trillions of bacteria living in your intestines, begins to ferment the fiber. This fermentation produces short-chain fatty acids, compounds called acetate, butyrate, and propionate. These short-chain fatty acids then interact with specific receptors in the gut wall, known as free fatty acid receptors 2 and 3. And this interaction directly stimulates the release of more GLP-1. So fiber gives you a double effect on the thermostat. It fills you up faster and keeps you full longer through physical bulk and stretch receptor activation, and then hours later, it triggers a second wave of GLP-1 release through the microbiome fermentation process. Two separate mechanisms, both working in the same direction, both telling your body fat thermostat to lower its setting. When you put all of this together, the morning strategy becomes clear. You wake up and you resist the cultural pressure to eat immediately. You give your body 3 to 4 hours to use up the glucose that cortisol already released. You allow insulin to stay low, fat burning to stay active, and the incretin hormones to rise naturally. Then, when you do eat, you build your meals around fiber-rich vegetables, whole foods, and spices like turmeric and curcumin that directly stimulate GLP-1. You are no longer fighting your body. You are working with the hormonal system that has always controlled your weight, using it the way it was designed to be used. The thermostat begins to move, and as it moves, everything changes. Your hunger decreases without effort. Your cravings lose their intensity.
Your body stops defending the heavier set point and starts defending a lower one.
Fat loss stops feeling like a battle and starts feeling almost inevitable, because you're no longer trying to overpower a system that was built to resist you. You're reprogramming the system itself. This is the truth that most diet advice never gets to. The problem was never your willpower. The problem was never that you didn't try hard enough or wanted badly enough. The problem was that you were fighting the wrong battle. Cutting calories without addressing the thermostat just triggers the body's defense mechanisms. Exercising harder without hormonal support just gets canceled out by a slowed metabolism. But when you focus on the thermostat, when you delay breakfast, add curcumin, build your meals around fiber, and let the incretin hormones do what they were designed to do, you are addressing the root cause. You are changing the setting, not just fighting against it. And that is the only approach that has ever produced real, lasting, sustainable fat loss.
Not a temporary drop that bounces back. Not a number that falls and rises with every passing week. A genuine, permanent shift in what your body considers its natural weight. That shift starts in the morning. It starts with the simplest decision you can make. And it starts the moment you stop trusting the conventional advice that has been failing you for years, and start listening to what the science has been quietly saying all along.